Abusia, Yenny come all channel so AGH politics avenue. But cast of set training make with make headlines. Your Jimre na be exum. Na any dimia raximu. Best of say young court in symphony now. And some of Boba and Edway and Assam Puto Pra. And Monibia in Nubonibia. A year Australia Pino and Saka. Isusu say container na ne woman. If Ghana name a year bidie and any show contain any ma umukupi swap. Omuhu se enuboni de ewo. Na de ye edutwamuni. Eye MPP, Member of Parliament bi. A wasan Rev.Ntim, di din akopim. Eye Rev.Ntim fodo. Na ekwan be ne fa so a ema di din de ekopim. So obeka ya emre bi etwam. Obe allergy se plane bi abisi eye airport ho a saa enuboni bi omususu se ebi ewo. Enti sasama wokekan ye no ene omudi a refer ne say ene obi a plane bi besi ho ema wutimi ema tepavu de then the possibility say ne enso akosi wo Australia no so ene wonso wetimi abo investigations enti yemfre no no so emwa na omaye hwehwemu onia eno ne ma ne din kopie ma me no kasa budefo atrans yakoye heated agreement e wo show no so a edi bi exumbo yemwram
approximately 320 kilograms of methamphetamine concealed in a consignment believed to have originated from Ghana. The development follows a notification from the Australian Federal Police regarding the interception of the illicit consignment, which was reportedly heading in a shipment declared as charcoal and destined for Australia. And we are told it is worth at an estimated 296 Australian dollars. The question about how this left the shores of Ghana must be interrogated, right? That we didn't see that this is beyond charcoal and it left Ghana for Australia. And also thinking about how Rev.Ntim brought that matter up, how we played politics with it. Why does politics always make us lose sight of the real thing? And how can we really deal with the most important things that would prevent this country from getting the shame that we do get sometimes when we could prevent them?
Well, I'm sorry, but politics will always be here with us. There's no way we're going to take politics out of our daily life because, it's part of life. And so politics is always going to be with us. But you see, it depends on how we do the politics that is supposed to be with us. I think that it's unfortunate that things like this happen, which of course eventually would send so bad signal about our country out there. But let's look at it. Where is these goods coming from? Is the originating, point of transit from Ghana?
Yes.
Is it from?
That's a document. That's why the Australian authorities.
So that in itself needed to be investigated. And I think that Ntim Fojo cannot be left out. He should be able to help the investigation. And that if he sounds that alarm, it may be on a good note. And things like this happening, he should be...
It wasn't on this one per se, but a year ago, he raised an alarm on something like this. But we didn't hear anything.
So I'm saying that now that is out there, it's in the clear view of the...
We don't know whether what he spoke about is this.
So one. Again, once you say we don't know, and that is why it calls for investigation. And so to establish whether or not what he was talking about got something to do with this, that has happened now, he should be able to have it. Genuinely, I'm not calling for anything, I'm not being sarcastic, I'm just being genuine, that he should help us. Since he knows how drugs are able to be able to blow alarms of this nature.
Oh, but people have
maybe he was only making a statement or maybe a conjecture and
from how he put it last year, it wasn't just a conjecture.
It means that he knew
someone. Look, people, they are informants.
So I am saying that this is a very
he
serious
is not
issue.
in the authority. He gave it to the authorities.
So I am saying that this is a very serious issue.
Okay.
We've had a member of parliament sitting in a very privileged position who should see something that you and I may not be able to see, made such a statement and, allegation, if you like, and there is some merits that we're seeing in it now. It is just nice and fair that he helps us more to expose more of things that
isn't it an indictment on isn't it an indictment on the people at the Home of Affairs when they did nothing about it and this is happening?
Well, I'm not saying that the people in authority should not be up and doing. I'm only saying that we've seen somebody who've made an allegation, and we're seeing things of that nature happening now. It is good that we fall in his expertise, how he got those informations. Maybe it will lead us to some sort of destination to arrest people who are into this kind of. Nobody wants drugs in this country, not at all. We've seen situations where drugs turn into co-contained, custodies and all that, and allegations that drugs are turned into co-contained, and allegations, And this time around, we're seeing situations where Australian government is actually saying things like that. That's coming from Ghana, which is very bad. So let everybody who is actually involved, who knows something about it, let's ask questions. I mean, let's try and deal with these things once and for all. It's not good for us, and you know that I know that it's not good for us. So for me, he made a statement. When Amwati was arrested as dealing cocaine, a sitting member of parliament.
Did it happen in your time? Airport here.
So when we are talking about when we're talking about issues of national color, when we're talking about issues of national color, you're trying to narrow it into who is in government. Crime has no color, has no political orientation. And so let's look at
it. Was arrested here.
Don't say that
John Mama one.
Thank you very much.
John Mama one.
When you were turning cocaine to powder, when you were turning cocaine to powder,
you are making
turning cocaine to powder.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
When this country,
thank you. Let me bring it along.
I mean, when we do this, then the people know what
is happening under your watch.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let me listen to Long. Let's listen to Long.
It's cocaine. Now Australia. The same.
Then if you're cocaine only, I'm alone. Call me, I tell me.
You are in government.
What I do?
Okay, Long.
This is. Let's be clear. Let's look at the data.
What kind of useless defense is that?
Guys out there. Crime is not a political issue.
No,
certainly
not.
It is also a fact that over the years, I mean, at least if we cast our mind back to, let's say, the last decade or two, there have been major busts of drugs at one point or the other across various administrations. I'm sure you recall the famous M.V. Benjamin case involving, M.V. Benjamin was a ship which, was carrying the famous 77 parcels of cocaine, which we all know the infamous, Tagore case and all of that. So we have many of those, and then to today. For me, what is interesting is that, Kojo, in the past, or let me even take it a step back. Generally, Ghana, like other African countries, when there's anything related to drugs, it's about transit. Because we all know that these drugs are not originating from here. But what is interesting for me with this particular matter that we are discussing now is the fact that it is methamphetamines we are talking about, which is a synthetic drug. Basically, is produced like how you are pharmaceutically. It is an artificial derivative that is produced for people to get high. For me, I think in recent times, this is the first time I've heard about the methamphetamines here in Ghana. Generally, you hear about cocaine or it will be cannabis or any of those other ones. But for meth, this is the first time, which is quite interesting because it shows you the complexity, the change they're advancing. For example, in the US, where they say they have an opioid crisis, the biggest challenge now in the US is from meth, not even cocaine.
Okay.
Because it's like the cocaine era has come and then the meth is now taking over, because this is essentially something that people can produce in their rooms if they know the chemistry of it. And people are able to do that
with base chemicals that they mix to generate or create this drug, which is for me a very interesting thing. I recall the Intercepted issue from last year. I think that related to some allegation that there was a private jet which may have been.
That was one.
Yes,
Then
one of them.
yeah.
For me, for any call or any suggestion that some people are dealing in drugs or there's some issue related, it's about investigation. I've seen from this Australian story, for example, that NACOC has issued a statement saying they are going to investigate, because if they trace those containers, they can liaise with the Australian authorities, they can know which containers, the numbers, and all of that. There's somebody obviously went to a shipyard in Ghana to send this, even if it was an agent, shipping agent, freight forwarder, what have you. They were instructed by somebody. There'll be documentation which shows the origination and so on. And you know the interesting thing too, charcoal is a resource that is controlled by the Energy Commission.
I have to pause you there. We'll come back to you, but let's take it to Kwabenya, where how historically we've had these issues of cocaine bust and what have you.
Yeah. So for me,
and the fact that US is struggling with opioid, and the highest of it is the meth.
Is the meth. Yeah. So it just shows you that the criminal market is also evolving, right? Which means that we also have to evolve with it. In fact, NACOC, I'm sure they have more expertise in dealing with the cocaine aspect of things than the meth and all of that, which means that we have to up our game as far as the security is concerned. And for me, once the security is doing what they have to do, basically we should be on top of these things. We are talking about, as I was saying, that the goods are supposed to have originated from Ghana. I'm saying once NACOC has said they are doing investigation, they'll be able to collaborate with the Australian security authorities to know which containers those were, who was the person who shipped them, all of that. They'll be able to unravel it. So I think we should give them time to work on that. But the point about the meth I was making is that because it's a drug that perhaps we are not very familiar with, it means that perhaps there needs to be more capacity building and development for our people in that area. Even when it comes to things like, let's say even dogs, when they use dogs, sniffer dogs to help, I understand that they are trained differently for different drugs.
Okay.
So there are even some dogs that are better with detecting one type as against other and so on. So it just means that the tools that we have in our arsenal for dealing or fighting with this type of crime may also need to evolve because of the changes in the kind of drug that we are seeing. Because I cannot recall in recent years any bust that related to meth in Ghana ever. This will be my first as far as I'm concerned. And I think that it means we need to do more in that respect. And I also was making the point that charcoal is a regulated product. Energy Commission has inspectors that are responsible for dealing with charcoal exports. You can't export charcoal out of Ghana unless you have a permit from the Energy Commission, which also means that there's a dimension that relates to another regulator as well, which is key because this was disguised as charcoal. And we can see, at least from the images from the Australian reports, that there was indeed charcoal also in there, just I was hidden in with it, which means that this cargo, if indeed it originated from Ghana, was cleared also by some inspection from Energy Commission and so on. So then NACOC, they know where to do and where to go to start
to get
yes, exactly. And for me, any Ghanaian, including the Honorable Rev.Ntim who has any information, should be able to collaborate with the security authorities to get to the bottom of it.
But when you gave it earlier, they played politics.
That's what I'm saying, that the politics side of it, as I've even said on this table today, is that the crimes straddle all administrations.
Yes.
So there's no point in this one. So maybe...
But when you gave it last year, you didn't mind him.
Why did they mind him? The police or the security agencies invited him.
The way they went about it.
Exactly, which is what I'm coming to, that sometimes I think the politics comes in a lot more when the way the information is even given out and the way it is responded to. Yes, because, for example, as a member of parliament, I'm sure the Honorable could have even had direct audience with our IGP or NACOC to give them information. But when how you put it out will suggest maybe you are trying to make political capital. So it will be their fair game for other political actors to also take it on. But it doesn't mean the security agencies are moved by those political shenanigans. If they think there's a credible information there for them to do the investigations, they'll follow up on it. So the political point scoring, I think both sides have always been doing it.
On that scale,
not necessary.
if they felt there was some trustworthiness in the information he gave, they would have followed up. If they didn't, and this is coming up.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think that there has been no follow-up.
Okay.
Yes, that I don't think is the case. And I'm saying that even beyond the follow-up, when the information is about credible threats or credible information, even, in preparation for today's show, I did some research. I found out recently there was also another bust of some 2 vehicles that were coming from the Volta region. Tema.
Yes, yeah.
You saw the parcels.
Yes.
Huge, 2 vehicles filled basically to the brim, moving after midnight. So when I read the story, they said the security agencies had information. Because you see, the way they caught them, 2 cars moving at night quietly, I'm sure they would have just been going to the barriers, but the police already had information.
Yeah.
So they intercepted at the right place. So the security agencies, if the information is credible, they act on it. Now, what I'm saying is that because of the public discourse, where it is NDC, MPP conversations, you might think that it's not being taken seriously. But the security agencies, they don't come and engage and talk. They'll just take the information and they'll start working with it. If it leads to some arrests, then so be it. You recall recently, even when those cyber fraud people were arrested, where their whole buildings or homes, where there are about 40 young men behind computers engaged, massive operations that they were engaged in. Recently, they swooped over 40 of them, largely Nigerian nationals and so on. So the security agencies, they don't announce their work the way the political discussions go, and it becomes your administration manipulation, that type of thing. But they work on it.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
No country will want its name out there like that. And the security agencies, they know what to do. They are professional.
So investigation is the way to go into this particular matter.
Absolutely. Because you'll be surprised that even though it says originate from Ghana, it could even be a transshipment. It could be coming from Mali through Ghana. You see, so investigation is what to unravel and get to the bottom of it.
Okay. All right. That's Lom Nuku Alija there. Now, let's move on then and talk about what my colleagues, MFR Adeti and Collins Frimpong brought you from the Kwabenya there. Now, if you look at the page 6 of the Daily Guide, it says, Ajo Safo shot, 6 arrested, and former member of parliament.
We ain't some more team course or channel, so Mamma, so Jim Ewaha. That's an so bad in the Edumini. Unia, the Asum.